Welcome to another episode of Create the Edge. And this time, we're back down under thanks to two of our stalwarts in the LinkedIn family.
Thank you so much, Joy. And it's an absolute pleasure to welcome on board Dino Pacella and Stephen Sede. And honestly speaking, it's such a pleasure to have you both because you all are absolute phenomenons on LinkedIn, and it's an absolute pleasure to be connected and be part of your LinkedIn family. So without further ado, everyone knows Dino. The same way a personal trainer helps you get your body in shape, Dino helps to get your personal brand polished and ready to stand out to become the main attraction. So thank you very much, Dino, for gracing Create the Edge. We really appreciate your time. And on the other hand,
thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure, Dino. And on the other hand, we have Stephen, who is often referred to by others as the coach's coach or the mentor's mentor. He simply focuses on human behavior and teaches people and businesses how to engage it meaningfully. Thank you once again, Stephen, for taking your time and being with us on Create the Edge.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for asking.
Absolute pleasure as well. So without further ado, a question that we would like both your insights and opinions on. In today's world, where change is the only constant and the advances in technology are being used in everything and anything, quite literally, how important, in your opinion, do you think the human touch is in business interactions and communication moving forward? I'd like to invite Dino to share with us his insights first. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Yusuf. And it's a really interesting question when you actually take the time to sit back and digest all of it. And around the constant changes that we're seeing in technology, I mean, God, going back 5-10 years ago, I wouldn't even be speaking to all three of you via a joint video conference. So that goes one. But I think having that personal touch across any business, particularly when you're across a B2C industry, and I've been doing that for the last probably 12 years back in the finance industry, that becomes extremely important because it's not at the end of the day the product that you're selling. And if we take into the finance world, whether it's a bank account, a credit card, or home loan, all these products have basically that much of a difference between all of them. What makes a difference is the people behind there. So the more that you can understand when you're in a B2C industry that you're in a industry of communication and you're in an industry of being transparent and honest, I don't think you can beat that via using a digital platform or any digital platforms at that. I think it starts with it and then it needs to flow through on that human interaction. If I can just add on that, I think being in that branding space, if people look at doing branding and all they're doing is utilizing the LinkedIn platform to build a community and build an engaging community at that, and that is where they stop, that's where you'll find that the opportunities become extremely limited on where you're actually moving forward. It's actually a small part of what you need to do, and whether you want to call it networking, building a relationship, building rapport, I really don't care. But what it actually looks at is building a true relationship with somebody offline. And given that we've got these wonderful technologies, they really go hand in hand where you can actually do business or build relationships, even friendships to that aspect across the globe to people where it's not always having a coffee face to face that we are, particularly when I'm in Perth and not many people are on this side of the globe. So it provides that opportunity to really knock on some doors, build those relationships, and then take them offline, whether you're doing it face-to-face or you're doing it via a Zoom call. So the technology, it is ever constant, it is ever changing. But to me, I don't think you can physically go past shaking somebody's hand, getting that spark, that feeling, that read of their body language, and moving relationships quicker to a point where hopefully they become unbreakable.
And you said it perfectly. And, it just reminds me of a cricket analogy. So, you could have the best form or the stance, but you will never be able to play the best shots if you don't have the correct follow through. And that is so, so important. And, you can have the best plan of action. You can be amazing with your engagement. But if you don't follow through on your actions to actually build on that human interaction that you've planted a seed of, with your branding communication, then it's not worth anything. So thank you so much, Dino. I really appreciate your insight on this, and inviting Stephen for his opinion on the matter.
I've got to say more than this. I concur with Dino, don't I? Okay, fine. Because I completely agree with everything he said. Absolutely everything. For me, there's a couple of key things. You mentioned in your opening remarks about the only constant is change. I believe the only constant now, change is like the sunrise. It's just it. The only constant today is the speed of change. It's no longer just change. We all need to accept that change is here and it's not going away. It's the speed of change that's now constant. So when people say the only thing that's constant is change, for me, the only thing that's constant in today's social age is the speed of change. The second thing, before digging into the question, is I often talk to people about that if we were on a train between one city and the next, going at 100 miles an hour with 100 people on the train, and 96 of them are holding their phone, they're not in an office, they're not anywhere near anywhere, they're just in the middle of 2 points between two train stations. And 96 of them out of 100 are holding a phone. Are we on or offline? And my view today is the constant speed of change is the only constant, the speed. And the second issue is we don't live in an on and offline world anymore. We live in one reality. The one reality that we can do exactly what Dino mentioned in the context of all of us being here. And nothing that we've ever learnt, we didn't learn from someone else. And the only thing that is actually unique today is your perspective on what you've learnt and your perspective of your existence, of your humanity in the one reality social age we live in. So from my point of view, I was only looking the other day, someone posted on LinkedIn and I saw it was a warehouse and there was this really fancy looking, very space agey little robots running around and going up and down and delivering all these things. And I thought, isn't that amazing? And there's drones that deliver for Amazon. And I just made me stop and ask the question, while everyone gets immersed in the technology of all these fancy things and driverless cars, my issue is, what is the actual little droney thing delivering and what is it delivering and to whom? And it's probably a gift from one human being to another to express their gratitude, or maybe it's a gift to just express their unique perspective of that other person. And you only need to think of the tragedy of Christchurch and the world's reaction. We live in a one world of one reality where the only thing that's unique is your perspective, and we call it today personal brand, but it's your perspective on your existence on planet humanity.
Very well said, Stephen, and we really appreciate your amazing insights regarding the matter. And yeah, I mean, it was such a tragedy actually, which in one way brought together diverse people from around the world in unison, and which is actually great to see, because even though it was such a horrible event, you know, the aftermath of it, you know, and the way you know, it was handled in the media, it was handled by the people of New Zealand, it was handled by the people in all parts of the world. It just, you know, these little things reinstill my faith in humanity. So thank you so much, Stephen, for your insight, mate. And
human beings reacting as human beings.
Exactly, and very well said. So thank you once again, Dino and Stephen. I'm going to pass the mic on to Joy, who's going to ask you both a very important question, which our LinkedIn communities and our online communities want to know about you.
Thank you so much, Yusuf. Coming back, so thank you again, Dino and Stephen, for the respective perspectives, if I may say. Stephen's very deep on the other side, and Dino, thank you. Understand where it's coming for the personal brand. This is a little lighthearted bit on the segment, which is viewers like to know one thing about you that Yusuf and I don't know, and probably followers on LinkedIn wouldn't know. So it's a little bit of your persona that is not shown on LinkedIn, if you could share with us. Either one of you can choose to go first.
Oh, it's got to be Dino.
Well, thanks, Steve. I feel the bus coming. You know, I share a lot of stuff online and a lot of personal stuff. So I really break down that. I always call it that egotistical wall that we all put up in front of us. So I've broken a lot of that down and I've shared a lot. So it was really hard to share something else that I haven't already put out, but I can share something weird and wacky with you, gentlemen. Please, no judgments. Hold the judgments to the end. But,
Absolutely.
I think I've got a little bit of probably a slight touch of OCD in the sense that when I seem to do something, I like to do them in threes. So a quick example of it, when I was picking up my youngest daughter from school last week, she likes to have the radio, and she puts the radio on an even number, the volume. And I was laughing. She goes, why is that so funny? I said, you know what, mine needs to go up in threes. So it needs to sit on 15, 18, 21, 24.
Yep.
And with her one, if it was sitting on 15, she'd move it to 16, I'd move it to 18, and we compromise. So, that's something weird and wacky that I've never probably told anybody, because I think it's probably too weird and wacky. But there you go. That's something weird about me that I've never shared online before.
Well, you know, yeah, go on. I know what Joy's going to say.
Yeah. Before Stephen jumps in, Dino, it's not wacky, because we've had Tima share with us her threes, in the sense that she goes into doing her groceries and she doesn't take the first item. She takes the third item on her list and the third package or the box on the shelf. So no, it's not weird. Maybe it's an Aussie thing. Pardon me, gentlemen. I'm the only non-Aussie person out there. But it's not weird, all right? Thank you, Dino, so much. Stephen, yours.
I was trying to work out what I would tell you, because I've shaken hands with Al Pacino and I've shaken hands with the Dalai Lama, and I thought, well, I came in here before Dino started speaking, and I thought, that's what I'll tell them. And then, as people may not know, I don't actually have a physical address anywhere. I'm constantly moving. So when I travel back into Australia and they ask me what's my residential address, it's always an interesting thing I put down on the form. But I noticed today, and Dino just said something that triggered my thought of, it's not just about the Dalai Lama, which is amazing. Whenever I enter a hotel room, whether it's the Burj or whether it's a simple little hotel room, wherever I am, I clean it. And today, when I was leaving the hotel where I was in Sydney, going somewhere else before I head off to Coffs Harbour tomorrow, I actually noticed myself, the last thing I did before I actually had all the cases at the door and I was about to leave, and this is part of my everyday routine, I was actually cleaning the bathroom and I was leaving. And I realised that the weird thing about me that people won't know is when I enter and exit a hotel, I clean it when I go in and I clean it on the way out. And I'm not sure what that says about me, and I don't do it in threes, but it just doesn't seem like something I'll ever put on a video, but it's out there now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Stephen. No, it's all of us have our own mannerisms, if I may use that word, gentlemen, and we're entitled to those. That's what makes us human. And that's what perhaps this segment, our approach from Create the Edge, is to show that humanness out to our viewers. So on behalf of Create the Edge, Yusuf and I, thank you so much, Dino. Thank you so much, Stephen. It's been a pleasure having you all on this episode.